All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. This is 15 Minutes or Less. I'm Brad Washington, and I have one of my good friends since high school, my classmate, my dog, Sierra Artemis. How are you?
I'm doing well, Brad, and it's so great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. I had to get you on because, we've been trying to do stuff for like the longest,
hmm
but, things have happened. And of course, COVID came up, but thank goodness for Zoom, huh?
Right, right.
Yep.
Thank goodness for
So
technology.
thank goodness for technology. I'm just setting my timer, make sure we good. All right. Okay. So I know that you got like um a lot of stuff going on. I know you're a
Yep.
mother. I know you work. How has that been going for you?
Look,
Especially like with this pandemic.
so I call it the struggle of the juggle.
Uh-huh.
And what that means is you have to try to find a balance between work, the projects that you have on your own, me in general, like my projects, and also making sure that I'm still being the nurturing and supportive mom,
Hmm.
especially since my son is 1 years old. So he's still very young. He's actually still considered a baby. He's like a pre-toddler, like a preteen, but he's a
Yeah.
pre-toddler. So
Yeah.
it's really hard, especially like he's still at that age where he needs me. He wants my attention. I'm trying to teach him, letters, numbers, animal sounds, animals, all kinds of stuff like that. But at the same time, I just launched my web show, so it's like there's a lot of work that goes into that web show as well as being a mom. So it's a struggle of a juggle right now. I'm still trying to find my way as a mom and also trying to find myself my way in my career. So it's we're still working some things out. Luckily, my boyfriend and I we work together on a lot of that stuff.
Hmm.
So it helps.
Well, I want to say, Sierra, ever since I've known you, like you've always been one of the most charismatic people I've ever met.
I
um,
appreciate it.
and so I think it's a great idea that you've decided to get into, having your own web show.
Mhm.
But what made you, like, what motivated you to kind of take that leap, especially in these times now, even with you being a mother?
It's the time, it's I feel like we have been, even though COVID was kind of spontaneous, I feel like we were all being trained and we were shifting to the times of virtual. And because of COVID, we've been forced to jump into it. And I'm grateful that we have the platforms that we have in the digital era. We can have shows and people not have to be present.
Hmm.
And while we have that audience, we need to take advantage of it. And a couple years back, right before I had my son, I've been wanting to do my show. I've been wanting to get in radio. I worked in the news. I've done everything, and I'm like I've done everything I thought that I was supposed to do to be where I wanted to be. And things just happened. I mean, not in a bad way. Things just, the atmosphere shifted. And I just had to be like water, and I had to be able to adapt to what was going on. And so I had a friend when I made a decision to leave TV, who worked in radio. His name is Red. He's a gospel artist, gospel rapper, has his own station. And I was like, Red, I don't want to get out of this field. Well, Kevin, I don't want to get out of this field just yet. Do you have anything at your station that I can do? And, he had been wanting me to work with him for a while. But, at this point, he was like, Sierra, like, as much as I would love to have you be a part of, what I got going on here, like,
Hmm.
dude, you got talents spewing out of your ears. Like, you need to do your own show. You need to do it. What are you afraid of? And it was when he said those words, I'm like, yo, I am afraid. Like, I'm not one of those people that I believe that I am afraid. But when I thought about it, I kept giving myself excuses as to why I wasn't doing it. Why haven't you done it? You had the resources, and I was like, yo, you are afraid. So what are you afraid of? And it's all about taking that leap. And one of the things that Red said to me was, he was like, you got to write a vision and make it plain. It's very simple,
I like that.
write a vision, make it plain. And whenever I thought about what it is I wanted to do or how I wanted to do it, and me, I'm one of those. I'm very meticulous. I'm not putting out no mess. Oops, sorry, I mean not Mike.
You're
I,
fine.
I ain't putting out. I'm not putting out no mess. Because what you put out is a representation of you. And I'm like, with all the the trainings and all, all the years of school, all the schooling I've done and all the things I've learned, why don't you incorporate it into what it is you want to do? Use those skills, So I applied it, and I actually worked with some people last year when COVID started,
Mhm.
helping them to build up their web-based talk shows. And I had already let them know before. I said, I'm actually working on my own show, so I would love to work with you. Kind of, it's in business we call it a second mover's advantage. It's when you've seen it done, you've
I
seen
like
how
that.
other people have done it, and you improve it. You do it. You have the advantage of seeing how it's been done, and how to make it better. Does that make sense? So
Makes perfect sense.
I had the second mover advantage, and so I took the move, and I took that leap, and I've been working diligently on it, meticulously, and trying to book guests that I think uh, will inspire people. And um, one thing about CTV, my channel, is I was like, the biggest thing is what am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about that people want to listen to? And I was like, there's just like the music market here. We have tons of businesses, not just here in South Carolina. I'm highlighting a few of them here in South Carolina, but everywhere. There's small businesses everywhere that we minority businesses that we need to support. We got to support ourselves, because if we don't, who will?
Right.
You know?
And what I was gonna say too was with both of us working in media, you working in TV and me working for like the source and stuff like that. In order to get through those doors, sometimes you feel like you have to depend on other people.
Right, right.
And the reason why a lot of people get to those spots is because they depend on those other
Who you
people.
know,
But
of who you
it's
know.
only but it's only yeah, who you know. And it's only but so much far you can get. Sometimes, and what I realized in 2020 was you have to call your own shot. That's why I
Right,
wrote
right,
my own book, and I'm
right.
doing this right now. So I
Which
see
I
what you
enjoyed. I enjoyed the book.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Volume 2 is coming. But
Awesome.
um what you're doing is you're calling your own shot. And
Right,
I think, with you putting out this show, it's gonna motivate others to call their own shots instead of waiting
right,
around making
right,
excuses and stuff like
right,
that. So
right,
I appreciate that. I think it's a great idea. I think everybody got to call their own shots.
right. And another reason I created CTV, it's I'm one of those people just like you, Brad. We're always giving advice to friends, and sometimes we're not as receptive of that advice. And sometimes you speak to yourself when you speak to others. So like when I would be giving people, talking to friends and motivating them and encouraging them, I listen to myself talk to them, and I'm like, apply this. This is applicable to you, And I figured,
Yeah.
one of the most important things when I interview people, I'm not just helping to promote your business. I want people to know who you are and what inspired you to start this business, because sometimes it's what inspires us that brings people in. Like, I want to support somebody who has been working so hard for years to give back to others, and now they get a chance. I feel that sometimes people become out of touch when they get so into the business, or we forget where we come
Yeah.
from, type thing.
Yeah.
And I want people to remember, like, these people who have these businesses are just like you and I,
You and I.
and
Yeah.
so it gives you that human factor. And whenever, like the first two guests that I had on my show, I did an hour instead of the 15 to 20 minutes that I want to do, because I wanted to give people an idea of what to expect with my show. And
Hmm.
so I had a guest named was Crystal Green with Glam Camp Slumber Parties, and I always make sure that I ask them, like, why did you do this? And she went into depth. And like, when you listen to people say, I just did it, and I was scared, I'm this, because these are feelings that people feel. They, when you're starting something, like me, I kept telling you, you were like, are you ready? And I'm like, I'm nervous. These are humanistic
Yeah.
characteristics.
Very
We
much.
are real. And so when I listen to them give their stories, Crystal Green and Eat Out the Chef that I interviewed, it was inspiring to me. As the host, I'm listening to how people were scared, or how they were inspired to start up these businesses, and it's so, I can relate. I could
Hmm.
totally relate. And the fact to see how far they've come, I kind of see myself too. One of the things we all talk about, and I hope to talk to more people about, is when you first started versus, like, like when I was in school as an anchor, I'm watching these reels of how I started, and I'm like, ew, you know what I'm saying? Like, look at how you sounded, and with more
Yeah.
experience, you perfect it. So it's like when you get to a certain point in your life and you've done it over and over again and you've kind of mastered it, you look back and see how far you've come. And that to me is the moment that means the most. It's like to know that you've grown in your craft. And I can't wait till we get to that point. When I get to that point, looking back at my first episode, and like 12 episodes from now, I'm like, whoa, that was horrible, but it's not a bad thing.
Mhm. Well, you know what? I want to ask you this because we
Mhm.
kind of talked about it off
Off air.
camera. Yeah,
Hmm.
off camera, where you want to put on like a lot of these musicians and there's a
Right,
lot of talented rappers and
right,
singers out here. You want to kind of be that plug. And you got a great vision and I like what you got going on.
right.
And like we kind of talked about earlier, where working in media, you have to kind of depend on knowing someone or reaching out to someone. But see, what
Hmm.
you're doing the reverse. You're actually reaching out to them and you're trying to be that plug. So,
Right,
lastly, like what kind of inspired you to kind of do that? Because that's really unconventional. A lot of people don't
right.
want to help others. We look at it like, well, that's your own race. You run your own race. I run mine. So,
Well,
yeah,
Well,
what?
for me, I've been in their shoes. I when I got out of high school. Matter of fact, in high school, I was rapping, I was singing, I was with my little group of friends. I had Lakeith. I don't know if you
I
remember
remember
Lakeith.
Lakeith. Yeah.
Yeah, so he moved to Atlanta. We were still like doing our music thing, and then once he moved, I found another group here, and I was doing music with them, and it was really hard, especially back then because we didn't have all the platforms that we have today. And I just don't feel like we have the support that we need here in Columbia. And so I was kind of inspired because I was like, I love music and I want to be able to incorporate all the things that I love, media and music. And I have tons of producer friends, tons of rapper friends just from being in those scenes. And I just wanted to bring it all together. And so one day I was on my way out for an interview, and my little cousin is actually the first artist, named Jalen Scott. She's the first artist that I featured. I was on my way out the door running to go try to do my first interview, and she was in her room playing her guitar. She has like 5 guitars, 3 electric guitars, the ukulele, all these tools, and she was just in there singing.
Ukulele.
Yeah, exactly. And so she was in her room, and I was like, "That's it." I went up there, grabbed my camera, I grabbed my ring light, I grabbed everything, I threw my mic on her, and I was like, "Hey, I need you to do what you just did,
Right.
and I'm gonna play it at the end." And so I typed up this huge PDF, and I was like, whenever I get guests, I just want them to just record themselves in their natural state, want them vibing. And, and the beauty of you recording it yourself is, you can do as many takes as you want. And then the one you like, you're like, I'm going to send that one. And so what I want to do is I want to put them at the end of my show so that you can, and I want it to be like your best work, the best. So you can even take this clip and we could send it off somewhere. Like we could send
Mhm.
it to an A&R at a music company, for a radio, a record label,
Mhm.
and that could be your not your EP, but what you send. And so I want to inspire people. Some people don't feel like my music's not good enough, and you know what? Sometimes music ain't meant to be mainstream. You know, a lot of the artists that I enjoyed the most growing up were all underground. Like I still like Big Crit. Like I like people
Love
that,
Big Crit.
what I'm saying? Like
Love them.
I love underground because it's like I feel like, being in that world, being in a world like I've been, you know, almost signed like 5 times. And I mean Sony BMG, CTE, all these other labels that
Wow. Whoa,
yeah, it's
whoa,
like
whoa. This is news to me.
I don't even want to get into it. I'll tell you off.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, no,
We'll talk
that's
more later.
over. But here's
Yeah.
the thing. Once I got into it, you learn that you lose yourself. You lose yourself as an artist. You have to be marketable, like we talked about. So what these labels feel is marketable is maybe they want you to look a little more sexier, or maybe that's not your thing. Maybe that's not your thing, and now you're being pushed out of your comfort zone. And sometimes we find an artist you really really like, and then later down the line, once they become mainstream, you're like, I don't like them because they've changed, they've evolved for the market that the label is trying to create them to be. And so I think with putting them on my show, I get to get them the most organic version of them, while they still had that passion. Now, for some reason, for some people that evolution is it works for them. But for some people, like, gosh, what's that? There's a singer right now that's very, very shy, but she's very, very, very talented. And
Her?
no, it's the girl that's pregnant now. I can't think of her name right now, but she's nervous.
Pregnant.
She's
Summer Walker?
Yes,
Okay, I
yes.
don't really listen to her like that.
I've
But I
heard
know
some of her
about her.
songs. Yeah, but she's really talented, but she's very shy. And that, when you're put in that position, you know what I'm saying? You're kind of pushed out of your element. And I want to hold on to that innocence. And
Right.
there's a certain way that I envision it, and I know it's going to be beautiful. I'm still trying to perfect it. This is the beginning again, so I have time to work on that. But like we were talking about, we have to use our resources, the people that we know, and we need to create some type of a sturdier community so that we can support each other a little bit better.
Right. Well, Sierra, like, I'm so proud of you, of everything that you're doing. You got a vision, and I got one too. We kind of discussed that too, and
Right,
we
right,
definitely going to continue working together. But
right.
just let us know when your web show is about to drop, or has it already dropped?
Yeah, so the first show aired yesterday at 7
Okay.
p.m. and yeah, I had quite a few people watching live. But the beauty of recording it and then airing it is that you can always go back and watch it. So if you guys want to go back and watch it, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers, because I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with it next. That's the next move. That's the next move. But it's youtube.com/Sierra Artemus. You can also watch my show on facebook.com. It's going to be Sierra Artemus TV, not Sierra Artemus. Sierra Artemus is my personal page. Please like the Sierra Artemus TV on Facebook. And those are the ways you can tune in.
Okay. Well, I need to go ahead and watch it now. 'Cause I knew it was like, wait, it was yesterday. Yeah, because we talked about it. Yeah, I'm about to go watch that right now, but
every Saturday. It's gonna be every Saturday.
Every Saturday?
Yep, it was gonna
Okay.
be 3 p.m., but I think I'm gonna push that time to 7. So look out 7 p.m. every Saturday.
Oh, that's a done deal. I'm in. And I hope everybody that's watching, I hope they in too. But Sierra, thank you so much for coming on. And we'll be in touch probably in the next 30 minutes.
Okay. Well, thank
Okay.
you, Brad, for having me. And thank you guys for tuning in and watching Brad's shows. Awesome.
Thank you, Sierra. All right, Sierra, peace out.
All right, awesome.
All right.